What's up guys, this is Chris with Half Chrome. DJI just released the DJI Mini 2, not the Mavic Mini 2, whatever the difference is, but the Mini 2, major upgrades to the Mini platform. We didn't think they were going to add that much to it. In fact, they added so many new features. Question is, do you still want to upgrade to something bigger and better like the Mavic Air 2? Is it worth it? What is left? Well, there is at least one key feature here that we're going to get into. So stay tuned. We'll be right back to talk about the differences between these two drones. Hey guys, before I get into the one key thing I really like most about the Air still over the Mini, let's talk about some of the smaller items. First off, the LED on the bottom, that's just pretty cool. We've got Hyperlapse capability with this. They have withheld that from the Mini. By the way, most of the features I'm going to talk about today aren't things that need to be off the Mini. The light's not there for weight reasons, obviously, and size, but a lot of the features are just kind of withheld, just to make this guy a little more appealing. Mavic Air 2 does have a little bit more flight time and still a little bit more wind flying capability, but the Mini has come up quite a bit. It has the obstacle avoidance. There is none on here. There's no room or any weight to accommodate that on the Mini 2. Mavic Air 2 has onboard storage. It has 8 gigabytes of memory, so if you leave your card at home with the Mini, you're going to be hosed. At least you have something you can do with the Air if you forget that card. This guy, obviously, the Air 2, still faster. This guy is getting up there pretty quick, pretty maneuverable. It feels like a real drone, unlike the Spark or the original Mavic Air was the worst, actually, in terms of its power to weight ratio. This guy's getting there. This guy's still more powerful, more capable drone in that regard. They did leave one little mode on this that they still haven't put here, the asteroid mode. You don't see a lot of people using it, but it is just pretty cool. It's pretty neat to be able to zoom out into that 360. They have now included the panoramic photos, including sphere, which make this guy again even closer to the Air 2. Now the second most important thing that I still am flying this guy for is active track. Not just active track, but the spotlight mode. It's just so easy to use on this drone, and they've really upgraded the firmware, and it's working really well now. So check out this shot I got at the barn with some look-up angle on the camera as well, and you can it's just rock solid now. I mean, it locks onto something, it sets a little GPS point up there in space, and it's really unshakable. So really like the active track, and you're gonna be missing that. You're also gonna be missing some GPS-based flight modes like point of interest that really make this a more professional tool than Mavic Air 2. All right, finally, the moment you've been waiting for, the big thing, obviously, is still the camera. While they have included 4K now on the Mini, it is still lacking in some ways. Now the key thing with the Air 2 is HDR video. They've done that with a little bit bigger sensor. It's 1/2 inch instead of 1/2.3. Gets you about 30% more area for every pixel or average pixel at any given resolution. But more than the area, it's those split pixels that lets them get different exposures within the same pixel. That gets you HDR video, which is the key. And you can see in these shots the difference that it makes on the Mavic Air 2. Getting shots now that compete with the Mavic 2 Pro in a lot of ways, and you actually have 4K, which we've talked a lot about before. The Mavic 2 Pro has some deficiencies in its 4K. This guy can also record in 1080 at 240 frames per second. It can also do 4K 60. Major upgrade. At 4K with the Mini, I'm still at 30 frames per second. Like I was with 2.7K on the original Mini, and only 60 frames per second at 1080. For photography, this guy still wins as well. It has a few features. It has that smart photo. This really only has added auto exposure bracketing and only 3 different exposure levels. This guy has 5. It has HDR photos where it combines different pictures or makes use of that sensor. Also has the Hyperlight, which they've also withheld here. Now, as I said, anything related to flight modes, anything related to picture modes, a lot of that just comes down to software and what they're withholding from us, so we still want to buy this guy. Now this guy has the OcuSig 2.0 and the much better range than the original Mini. It's a really compelling option. In fact, it has the same image transmission system and range, about at least, as the Mavic Air 2. Definitely way more in our testing than the old Mini. The remotes of these two drones are the same, which really did surprise us. It's a little bulkier than the original Mini remote, and it packs a huge battery in it. The good news there is that on both these remotes, you can use them to charge your phone. So if you're down, especially on a cold day, on some battery on your phone, you're still going to be able to fly and use all the functionality of your smartphone on the remote. DJI has made these remotes interchangeable, so you can use either one. They have all the same buttons, all the same features. They've renamed some things. Maybe one thing they added a pause icon here, so a fast press on the home button will now pause any flight mode. I actually really do like that. Don't know if that functionality actually exists here, but it is a nice remote. It adds stuff from the original Mini, and they're basically the same deal, but you will be lugging this around. The drone itself is now the smallest thing in the Mini. The remote, the battery pack you get with the Fly More package, both bigger than the drone, both heavier than the drone. So we were a little bit surprised to see them go with that bigger remote. But in terms of comparing these two drones, they're the same. We've talked a lot about the features of these drones. The two most dramatic differences, of course, are the size, the weight, and the price. That was 3 actually. So when it comes to weight, obviously under 250 grams, you know, that saves you $5. That is important to some people. You don't maybe have Big Brother watching you as much, but at the end of the day, it's $5. So it's up to you how important that is. Depending how the laws end up wrapping up, it may mean that you don't need remote ID flying this little guy, which may be actually a really important difference. Now let's talk about price. Obviously very important to a lot of people. At $449, this is almost half the price of this guy at $799. Are you getting more here? Absolutely. If you're a professional, I think you're going to definitely be, this is like your entry-level professional drone. You're going to get a lot done with it. Not to say you can't use this professionally, but you will have to get a little more creative with how you execute some of your more difficult shots. So that's it, guys. That's the main thing. It's really the video capability on the Air 2 that still just surpasses everything. This is still our favorite videography drone, but the size and weight of this and the survivability, we didn't, until today, had never really crashed a DJI drone. Somehow we crashed this guy 3 times today. Me only once, Jack twice, but it survives great. Got a little scuff on it. It'll buff right out. This thing is super durable despite its really lightweight. Maybe because of its really lightweight. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you check us out at halfchrome.com. If you liked the video, the amount of information we provided you today, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you guys next time. Oh! Oh! That didn't work.